what is it like working with Dumisani?
Nice. Even I can't pronounce it that well.
I pronounce it correctly.
That was good. He would be. Most people who seek out the services of a ghostwriter to write their books are people of stature in life. They're people who have accomplished great things. So can you imagine having first-hand access to this CEO that people pay to meet?
Yeah.
And you meet him every 2 weeks. Or you meet her every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you sit with them and they just tell you the most incredible stories. You're learning and you're getting paid and you're also practicing your writing. It's just a gift that keeps on giving. And what does that do? It grows your network. It's a gift that can really keep giving if you know how to approach it. The funny thing about ghostwriting is that you could write an award-winning book and no one would know that it's you.
Yeah.
There are people who would struggle with that concept. They'll think, oh, but I would like some recognition. But then to be a true artist, it's not really about the result. It's about the process of becoming. And really understanding that can be a bit of a challenge for some people, but I actually really like that. It forces me to practice the craft of writing without expecting anything in return from it. And that, of course, results in a very high quality work. I'm sure you'd agree with me that the simpler something seems when it comes to the creative industry, the harder it was.
Yeah, it was, and a lot of experience. A quote or motto that you live by.
If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So if you constantly say, I'm a bad driver, you'll be a bad driver. Your brain doesn't know the difference between you talking to yourself and someone else talking to you. So don't fight for your limitations. They'll stay.
So before we dive into the conversation, a quick reminder. Most of you are watching without subscribing. So if this podcast adds value to you, press that subscribe button, leave a comment, or share it with somebody who might benefit from this conversation. It helps us grow the Duwit community, and it also makes sure you don't miss the next conversation. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I am very excited to be here.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited too. And yeah, thanks for reaching out. I'm always looking forward to talking to creatives. Of course, you have engineering, but we'll talk about later. But I'm always excited to have conversations, and people are excited about talking about what they do. I think it's really important, especially that this is a growing industry in Zambia, and so a lot more people need to see other creatives who are doing the work and to see, I can actually it's possible to do this. I can't just be an engineer or an accountant, but I can also do ghostwriting, I can do creative work. So that's really inspiring.
I agree with you.
Yeah. We first connected on LinkedIn.
Yeah. We did. It was a shot in the dark, but it hit the target.
It actually did,
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, no, I really love the work that you do. I think even just the way you post about your work and the exciting work that you're doing, I think that's really inspiring for people that are seeing that.
Okay.
I think a lot of people have been telling me to share more, especially about my journey.
Yeah, I would agree with them.
Why don't you share more?
I would agree with them. I would, for sure. You should.
Yeah, no, I'll try. I'll start when I'm ready. I would like you to take me back because I believe that where you grew up, the people that were around you when growing up, they also shaped the person that you are today. So what were you like as a child and what were your interests?
That's actually such a good question to start this conversation off. Yeah. So I think for me, it was definitely a combination of both nurture and nature. So growing up, my mother is very artistically inclined herself. When she was growing up, she was actually a painter to such an extent that she actually even won a scholarship to go to some prestigious art school, somewhere, but she just didn't take it, And so that artistic bone is already there in the genes, you know what I mean? And then fast forward to me being born, I remember being very young and seeing how deliberate she was about her reading. Some of my earliest memories from a child are seeing my mom reading these big books like Stephen King, One of the first books I ever read actually was Liza's Story by Stephen King. If you look it up, it's about 500 pages.
Really?
And I think I read that when I was like, I don't know, like maybe 10, 11, you know.
No, you're understanding the vocabulary and everything.
Quite frankly, it's because she had explained the story to me then I read it. So it was as if I had all the preview information and then I could finally read and understand the book. But that's just to give you the context that I was surrounded by words and text growing up. She was also very intentional about making sure that I speak well, because who's going to know you if you don't communicate? In fact, you're only as intelligent as the degree to which you can communicate. You can have genius ideas and be in front of the most important people on earth, but if you can't speak, then who's going to know? You know, so that's something that she was very deliberate about. But it's funny because when people meet me now and I tell them, like people who knew me then, I was actually quite reserved as a child. Very reserved, very introverted. I wasn't one to deliberately form new friendships with people or bond with people, which is like night and day to how I am now. So I think that's a summary of my childhood. It was filled with art, so to speak, with words. And also, funny thing, I was actually very bad at spelling. In fact, maybe I preempted this story. Let me go back a bit. The reason why my mom started telling me a lot about the books she was reading was because I was terrible at spelling. Like terrible. I couldn't spell school. I couldn't spell road. I couldn't spell, you know? So that's actually when she started to really inculcate in me to say, look, we're going to solve this problem and this is how we're going to solve it. And that's how I started reading. So to go from that to the way I am now is interesting. So I think that's a summary of my childhood in the sense of how I got here. It was definitely something that you can trace all the way back to when I was a child.
How would you describe yourself in the classroom?
Like I said, I was definitely more reserved. I don't think it's that I was ever terrible at school. In fact, I think school as a system is not something I've struggled with so much, aside from the spellings, of course, at some point. But I think I would say in a lot of ways, personality-wise, I was more average. And academic-wise, maybe a little bit above average. So I was okay for all intents and purposes. Like I was fine, you know. But eventually, of course, my personality started to morph, changing from being reserved and quiet to being more outspoken and finding my voice in terms of personality and getting comfortable speaking to people that I know, you know. So I think that's how I would describe myself.
So now, of course, you go through school. Now you're right to grade 12, you pass. What was the conversation like to go to uni?
So I write my grade 12. I was at a very competitive secondary school, Dollar Girls Secondary School. It was super competitive, and the type of school where if you don't get 6 points, it's like you didn't write the exam. You know what I mean? But I think because of that, it kind of set the pace to continue to aim in that, with that tone, even in university. It was constantly, you have to be the very best of the very best. So I think the inclination, because I was at a tech school, was always that I was going to end up in something to do with something more technical, something more difficult, so to speak. So I think that kind of led me towards the engineering. I don't think I ever had the aspiration to be an engineer. I don't think I ever woke up one day and said, oh my God, I really want to be an engineer. No. I think, like a lot of Zambians I can imagine, it's just circumstances that kind of led me in that direction. My results earned me the opportunity to be in this program.
The hardest program.
Which just earned me the opportunity. You know, so it was just, I can't lie and say I ever wanted to be an engineer and I was searching for it, and no, it just happened on its own. What was deliberate is during the engineering, I decided to do a diploma in copy editing. And that's actually where this whole story begins, really. Because before that, like I said, big reader when I was young. I remember somewhere grade 9, I started to write poetry, terrible poetry, but it was poetry. You have to make it exist first before you make it good. So I was just making it exist at that point, just writing. And writing is definitely one of those skill sets where you really have to, I think like most things, do it repeatedly over time, and then it becomes kind of ingrained, It's a talent whose muscle you need to constantly work. So from grade 9, I used to, write here and there, nothing serious. But then when I got to uni, I decided to take a lot of the poems that I had written when I was younger. And because by the time I was making this decision, I think I was in second year. And I decided to publish a poetry book. It's actually called Broken Powder. A lot of people don't even know I have a book that I published.
Yeah, and I was asking you about writing a book.
Exactly. I already wrote one. But I sometimes don't count it because I feel like it's not a true reflection of my work. But then maybe I'm doing a disservice to myself because that was my work at that time, and I think it should count for something. Whatever the case, I just woke up one day and decided I was going to publish it. So I took all those poems that I had been writing over the years and some of the more latest ones, and I decided to publish it. So actually, I should have brought you a copy, actually.
Yeah.
Shame.
You send it to me.
But, and I remember I was so serious about it. I was very fortunate that my father was supportive and he helped me put together a book launch. And there's actually pictures online of that book being launched, and I remember we invited the dean of the school that I was in at the Copperbelt University at the time. And we launched the book. So after launching that book, I think it sparked something in me. I realized that, maybe as I'm doing this engineering, I can still feed into this talent that I have. And who knows what might come out of it. So then I decided to do a diploma in copy editing. And I think that diploma, funny enough, has given me a lot more opportunities than my degree did. And that diploma only took a year to get. I got it online, But my 5-year degree, I'm yet to use to such an extent as the diploma. So I think in terms of my education, just that one decision to just do a small paper, a paper that seems so insignificant, I think really changed the trajectory of my life without me knowing, because there's certain opportunities I got, especially early on in my writing career, that I don't think I would have gotten if I had nothing to show for, to say I can actually do this, Because before there was ghostwriting, there was editing. And there still is editing, but that was where it began. So without that paper, I wasn't going to be here. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that seed was already planted when you were a child.
Yeah.
And I think maybe when you went through school, of course that's always the notion when you're in school. When I pass or when you get 6 points, you have to go into engineering or you're gonna be a doctor.
Yes.
I think that's wrong. Like, if you get 6 points, doesn't mean you should always go for doctor or being a doctor or an engineer.
Especially not in 2025.
Yeah. I mean, somebody can do teaching with 6 points
for
filmmaking or graphic design or anything like that.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think that seed was already in you from the time you were a child, and then in you, and you're just like, oh, why did you bury me? Yeah, I am.
Here I am.
Yeah,
for sure.
Of course, you started writing. What drew you into the ghostwriting industry, and what excites you the most about it?
Okay, so the ghostwriting industry, it's in Zambia. I think it's still picking up steam. I think, like I said before, there was ghostwriting. There was first editing. So
first editing.
There was like. Before ghostwriting,
oh yeah, there was editing.
Okay. Yes. So, honestly speaking, now that there's AI, I think this conversation would strike people differently. But when I started editing, there was no AI. So, really and truly, people needed an editor if they were going to write a book. And I think that's something that I would like to advocate for. I think even now, there is nothing like the human touch. So, if you're going to write a book, I understand that now there is the world and then some of artificial intelligence that you can use to edit your work to make it seem perfect, but that perfection is exactly what is exactly what is robbing of that artistic touch. You know what I mean? You know how with painters, they look at paintings and they say, oh, Picasso's strokes were like this. And then maybe they say his strokes were bold and this one's strokes were like light. You know those descriptions. In writing, that comes out as well. That personality. You can give two people the same topic to write on, and they will have two very different approaches, even if it results in a body of work that is equal, So I think for me, the editing was the proper rite of passage for me to take before ever writing a book, because it showed me so many different approaches and techniques that writers use before they arrive at a body of work that we can give to you. You read it and it changes your life, because there are books that change your life. I mean,
exactly.
Already we have the Bible that changes people's lives every day. But imagine, I'm sure there's certain books that you can think of that you read it 10 years ago and it still impacts you so profoundly.
Yeah, I have a number.
Exactly. That takes a lot of process and trial and error. And I remember it being very laborious work. Because I was just starting out, I wasn't being paid much because I had nothing to show for it that I was good at this. So it was just passion driving me, And I would edit 50,000 words books and this person would give me 3 weeks and they'd be paying me I don't know, almost nothing, But I look back at those days when I would wake up at 2 a.m. just to edit this book that was, quite frankly, poorly written. And I'm very grateful because I really needed to go through that maze in order to emerge at a place where I have enough insight to write someone's story on their behalf.
Yeah.
So the ghostwriting, where it came from, was on this very path. I don't think I ever looked into the horizon and thought, oh, I'm going to ghostwrite one day. No.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what all of these major big people who make it in life always say, that the path becomes clearer as you walk on it. You don't stand at the beginning of the path and think you're going to see all of it. It just starts to emerge as you are walking, And that's exactly what happened with me. I was just editing and editing books. I remember one of my first major clients was Susan Mwenda Mulongoti. Shout out Susan. To you, Susan. She was one of my first major clients. I don't even know how many years ago that was. And I remember she was so happy with the work that I ended up editing 4 of her books. And I was doing that whilst I was still in school, in final year of engineering. So after that, it kind of opened up this door. Now, all of a sudden, I wasn't just editing books. I was winning contracts with companies to edit documents, official documents for the government and whatever the case, So it started to open up slowly. It stopped being just stories or nonfiction books. It started to be other works of writing. So eventually, one day, someone just said, I really need to put out this message, but I don't have the time. Can you write it for me?
Yeah.
Then I was like, you know what? I probably can. Yeah. So like the editing, it started off small first, like a seed. Okay, let me try. And of course, the stakes were lower then than they are now. And eventually, I found myself writing full-length novels for people and enjoying it, and them enjoying the process, which is, I'm sure, something we'll get into. So, yeah, that's how the ghostwriting started. And that's how I found myself here. What was the other half of your question?
What excites you the most about it?
What excites me the most? Yes. So what excites me the most about it is, number one, you're allowed to practice this craft without earning any real recognition. I know that sounds strange, but it's actually a true test of whether or not you're doing this from your heart. Because there's so much incentive for you to do something if you know that there's going to be a crowd of people applauding you at the end. But the funny thing about ghostwriting is that you could write an award-winning book and no one would know that it's you.
Yeah.
So depending on who you are, there are people who would struggle with that concept. They'll think, oh, but I would like some recognition. But then to be a true artist, and I think even in terms of AI is something that I guess we'll talk about later, but it's not really about the result. It's about the process of becoming. It's about the process that you went through to write that book is what makes you the artist. It makes you the creative. It's not the result, And really understanding that can be a bit of a challenge for some people, but I actually really like that. It forces me to practice the craft of writing without expecting anything in return from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that, of course, results in very high quality work because you're not thinking about the stage that you're going to stand on and the thousands of people that you're thinking, is this really good enough? No. You know what I mean? And so it really narrows your focus and in a good way. So that's what I really like about it. The second thing I like is the connections that you gain from it. Because quite frankly, most people who write books, who seek out the services of a ghostwriter to write their books, are people of stature in life, of great stature in life. They're people who have accomplished great things.
Yeah.
So can you imagine having first-hand access to this CEO that people pay to meet?
Yeah.
And you meet him every 2 weeks. Or you meet her every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you sit with them and they just tell you the most incredible stories about their life, about how they did this and how they used to climb mountains to go to school. And it's like you're learning and you're getting paid and you're also practicing your writing. It's just a gift that keeps on giving. So not only do you connect with these people who would otherwise never connect with you, you're also learning, getting better because you're practicing your writing.
Yeah.
But you're also learning from them. You're also learning direct, because mind you, not everything that they tell me ends up in the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Some things remove. So there's some things that only I know. You know what I mean?
So you get to know them deeply.
So you get to know
story.
them very well. And the thing is, because they're human and you're human, you become friends with them. You become their younger sister or their daughter or their, you know what I mean? And what does that do? It grows your network. It strengthens your network. Now, all of a sudden, you're besties with the CEO of this company. You know what I mean? So it's a gift that can really keep giving if you know how to approach it. Yeah.
Being in this industry, what are the misconceptions that you've seen a lot of people have, especially in Zambia?
That there's no market for it. I think there are people who think, but who would want to write a book so much that they would hire someone else to do it?
Yeah.
No, there are people. And right now I understand that AI is big on everybody's minds and people are saying, but why would you pay someone this amount of money to write a book when you could just... Do you know that even prompt engineering for AI to do the correct thing is a skill set that you learn?
Thing as well.
So it's not like ChatGPT will automatically telepathically read what's in your mind and produce this 120-page document that will like fit and suit your emotional needs. No, it won't. So you really have to like acknowledge the fact that at the end of the day, even that process I described of them telling you their life is part of the experience. So there is a market.
Yeah.
There is a market. Most people want their accomplishments to outlive them. And what better way to do that than in a book? So I think that's one of the misconceptions.
I think it also be that because you're not shown as a person that like publicly when somebody writes a book, you're not like given the flowers. Of course the owner compliments you and whatnot, but to the public they don't see the person behind who was editing and all those things. I think some people want to be recognized. And also maybe because you don't get advertisement a lot. Could be that.
It's very tricky because first of all, you can be recognized, but as the editor. So you will not be... There's some clients who agree that you'll be recognized as the collaborative writer, for instance, but that is rare. Most of the times you'll be given credit as the editor of the book, of which it's true. You were the editor to some respect, you know what I mean? So, but I guess, and then also your point that you touched on how do people know that you can do this if there's no catalog of, well, if there's an industry where word of mouth, I think most of my clients come because they heard from someone else. So I think, again, goes back to you're forced to be very good.
Yeah.
Because if you do bad work, then that person won't recommend you. Some of the most, like, the highest paying clients I've ever had were just recommended by someone else to say, this person, they do a great job, go to them.
Yeah.
So it's a very referral focused industry. Like, you are relying solely on word of mouth. And of course, I could always put, like, my LinkedIn says I'm a ghostwriter. And I think there've been, one client, two actually, have reached out to me just because they saw that. And they just take a shot.
Yeah.
But in terms of, can you prove that you're one? It depends on whether or not, the clients that you've worked for allow you to say that you've worked on their books.
Yeah.
But it's very much you'll be relying on referrals to get the next client. And they come.
I think that's also something about some work, is that some people, like, who were doing the work, doing a lot of work on a project, they don't get recognition.
Yeah.
Same as filming, like, when a movie comes out, it's always the actors. I mean,
yeah, but the director,
the director, the people, the cameras, the editors, all those people. And I think that's that's part of the reason why I started the Duwit Podcast.
Okay.
Because, I'm interviewing people like someone who made an advert for Tredkins. Like, you don't know. Do you know a person who made the boom advert?
No.
You have no idea, right? There's no
don't.
credits anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, there's a lot of people that are doing this work. It's like, why don't I open this platform where they can talk about their work and people can see, you can actually do that.
I actually really like that you brought that out, because that's something about your podcast that I've noticed, that you bring people who are doing, like, really good work that are normally, for lack of a better phrase, sidelined. They're not really, people don't notice to say there's actually a genius behind this that I'm enjoying, And I think that's a very, very good, a very unique approach to the interviews that you've taken that is very beneficial for the listeners. It's like they didn't know they needed it, but now that it's there, people realize to say, by the way, there's someone behind the boom advert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I would agree with you on that.
All right. So this is called Do It. Here we don't just talk.
Oh no, am I in trouble? What am I about to do?
You're going to prove if you're actually a real ghostwriter.
Oh my God, I'm terrified right now.
Yeah. All right. So for this segment, you're going to walk us through the ghostwriting industry in Zambia.
Okay.
So how it works, how you go about the process and all that, so that you can practically show somebody out there who might be interested in getting into this.
So a crash course.
Yeah, a very short.
A very short crash course. Okay.
Are you ready?
I hope so.
All right.
I guess there's only one way to find out.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay. So of course we're gonna walk through these step-by-step questions.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you, and then you're going to answer.
Okay.
All right. So first question: give us some background on ghostwriting in Zambia. Is it a new field or has it always been there quietly? I think you touched a bit on this. Maybe a quick one.
Okay. So I think it's always been there quietly, not as prominently as it is now. Definitely a lot of the more prestigious people of the past have had books of their lives written, like biographies in short stories about their lives written by others. Mm-hmm. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, the shape and form that it took back in the day is that the person that is being written about wouldn't even really know that they're being written about. Mm. This person would just write about them, do the research, go interview people and all that, and then say that they've written this book about. Those are the books that you see. Maybe take, for instance, this man wrote about Elon Musk kind of situation.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's the form that it mostly took, if I'm not mistaken. I think nowadays, the person being written about or the person whose book is being written for them is more involved than they were back in the day. But I'm sure it was there. Yeah. Like, I'm sure it was there, just not as pronounced. Because even now, it's just, gaining some momentum.
Second question, who usually seeks out ghostwriting services and for what kinds of projects?
the people that you normally see on stages at conferences.
Oh, really?
I think would summarize it. Yes. The CEOs of the world, or sometimes even people that have a very deep-rooted purpose that they're fighting for and they just want to document it. I should clarify that it's not always that people write stories about their lives. Sometimes people write a story about just a certain thing that they're working on and how it has impacted them.
Yeah.
So I would think, to answer that question, I would say people who are doing big things in the world, or people who have climbed very steep mountains, either in corporate or in whatever field, but people who feel like, wow, I've accomplished so much. Am I going to die? And then they just forget, let me write a book.
You've also talked about the projects, right? The types of projects. So it's not just about someone's personal story, right?
Yeah, it can be about their life. It can be about someone else. Yeah. It can be about, like I said, something that they're working on. So it's not always that they're writing about themselves. No.
Can you tell us the difference between ghostwriting and copywriting?
Like we mentioned earlier, with copywriting, I hope they'll credit you somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
In the marketing department, somewhere you'll be credited. But with ghostwriting, it's possible that you would not be credited anywhere.
Yeah.
Or you'd be credited as the editor, which happens a lot with me. Yeah. Or you'd be credited as the collaborative writer. And then with copywriting is mostly for marketing, if I'm not mistaken. It's mostly for marketing. It's mostly to entice, to induce a decision from the reader. But ghostwriting is more of you using the talent and expertise that I have to pen down your message. So I think that's very likely one of the major differences, I think.
Question 3. What qualifications or skills does someone need to become a ghostwriter?
They first of all have to be a reader. To be a writer, period, you have to be a reader.
Yeah.
You have to be someone that has read extensively, that continues to read even as you write. In terms of actual qualifications, it's not even really that you have to have some formal qualification. I don't think there is a qualification out there in ghostwriting. I know that there are a lot of qualifications in creative writing. I think that would really help you. I know there are enough institutions that offer that. But in terms of qualifications, really, I wouldn't say you need one. If you could get one in writing, in literature, absolutely, by all means.
Literature, maybe.
But it does not limit you. It doesn't mean, like most things that are not brain surgery, you can learn them whilst doing them, you know? So I think all you need to do is be a reader and write every day. Be intentional about learning your style of writing and learning how you can adjust it to the person that you're writing for.
I think you have to also be passionate about it.
Absolutely.
You also have to be somebody who likes reading. Because if you don't like to read and it takes you a while...
It's painstaking work.
Yeah. I don't think you would make it.
It's painstaking work.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So you definitely have to have genuine interest. It should not be about the money. Granted, especially, in Western countries, in Europe, ghostwriting is actually very lucrative. And someone can really make a very good living off of it, That may not necessarily be the case in our local market, even though if, of course, you do meet the right people who see the true value, they will pay you at least somewhat in the ranges of what they should pay you, But the point is that you must never approach it because you want to make a lot of money. You won't. Because it's hard.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I think that's why we're having this conversation, is to bring more awareness.
Yeah.
More recognition, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to question 4. Walk us through the stages of ghostwriting a book from concept to the final manuscript.
First step, client messages me. Hi, I hear you're a ghostwriter. Can you write my book? I want to write a book. First thing I do is, if I can meet them in person, we're meeting in person. Because guess what? When I write the book, it's not supposed to sound like me. It's supposed to sound like you.
Yeah.
So I have to understand your personality. I have to feel your energy. I have to see your temperament. You know what I mean? So first things first, if they're serious, because quite frankly, people can be very aspirational about ghostwriting a book, I should mention. There are people who have hopes and dreams that, you know what, I should write a book. I should hire someone. And then when they actually come through and they see what it takes, they take a step back.
Oh, yeah.
Because they realize to say, wow, even if I'm not the one writing this is actually a lot of work. So those are some of the things I try to establish in that first meeting. So we meet, we have a conversation just to get to know each other and warm up and build some rapport, hopefully. I should also mention that I don't write for everybody that approaches me because, like I said, there should be some natural intellectual chemistry between me and that person.
Yeah.
If there is none, then I cannot write that book. I'm not a good fit for them. They should find someone else, you know? So I meet them, we sit, we have a conversation about what is it that they want. Normally they have a very good idea, even though sometimes you have to help like guide them on the path, but they normally have a very good rough idea to say, oh, you know what? I really want this book to focus on, as an example, women. Just, women who are maybe juggling being mothers and also working at the same time. And I want you to draw lessons from my life and apply it in the book so that they can benefit. So usually they have a premise on what their book should be about. So that's what I'm trying to establish when I meet them.
Okay.
If we establish that we're working together, after that, I have a ghostwriter's guide that I made for myself to make my work easier. So when we meet, we establish, okay, we are indeed working together. I tell them, okay, I'm going to send you a ghostwriter's guide. In that ghostwriter's guide, there's an explanation of the process that we're going to take. So as a summary, it can be done one of two ways. So you have told me the premise of your book and what you want it to be about, but I am not you. So what we're going to do is we are going to establish major topics in that topic. And we're going to focus on those, and those will be our chapters. To guide you with the information that you need to give me, I will create questions based on my expertise on how I know a book should flow and how it should flow based on the topic that you've given me. Then I will send you those questions chapter by chapter. You are going to answer those questions using either voice notes or we will meet every 2 weeks or whatever cadence we decide, and we'll sit and talk for 4 hours and I'll record you.
Wow.
And then after, you get how it's going. So after I record you or you send me the voice notes, it is up to me to now sit and listen and transcribe all that and use that information to write the story. So in the case of a memoir, it's basically just, I send you questions for chapter 1. You start recording on a voice note. So, I grew up in what, and my mother was like this, and my father was like this. And you're sending me voice notes of your life story. It is up to me to create dialogue. It is up to me to make it feel like you wrote the book. So quite all right, you know how someone would sometimes tell you to say, and then my mother wasn't happy. They won't tell you what the mother said. They'll just say, my mother wasn't happy about that decision I made, but I decided to just make it and I went to South Africa. It's up to me as the writer to insert dialogue. Imaginary dialogue based on what I know about them, based on the context of the story. I then get that and I make a conversation. And of course, the client is following the book chapter by chapter. So if they feel like the dialogue is unnatural, they'll tell you. To say, my mom would never say this. Maybe she would say this. And then we keep going. So that's the process. And when the book is done, sometimes I prefer that I don't edit it, the final edit. You know how you can write something, you're editing it as you go, but you need another set of eyes because these are words. So sometimes clients will opt to hire a separate editor to run through just to make sure that I didn't make any mistakes because there's no perfect writer on earth. Or I could edit it, but the book has to sit for some time without me looking at it so that I can forget it a bit. You know what I mean? So that when I go back to it, I now have that. It's like my palette has been cleansed. So now I can read and see, I made a mistake here. I made a mistake here. So after that is done, finally, then you can decide on whatever graphic designer you want for your cover, and we can choose whether or not we're going to put images and all that jazz. This process normally takes, on average, 2 years.
No way.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's true.
2 years?
Because guess what? Life happens.
Yeah.
Whilst you're writing the book. You could get sick. I could get sick. I could lose someone in death. You could lose someone. And we're not going to be writing a book when that is happening.
Yeah.
So we have to also acknowledge the fact that life will continue to happen. Like I said, these are CEOs, these are directors, these are
other obligations.
Permanent. They're very busy people. So the fact that they're even committing to the project is them stretching their capacity.
Yeah.
You know? So they really have to hold space, even just to meet you, to sit with you for 4 hours. That is a long time. So that's why it tends to take that long.
Oh, I see.
Is that a good answer?
Yeah, that's a good answer. But one thing you forgot, the pricing. You don't have to tell me the price, just talk about that.
No. So the pricing, to be honest, like most things in Zambia, is just complicated. Because if you were to go on Google right now and click how much should the average amateur ghostwriter get, they'll tell you, depending on the length and the size of the project, minimum like $10,000. But of course not. $10,000. You know what I mean? But minimum, like realistically, according to the Google of things, you are supposed to get a minimum, because it's like, did you hear what I just described?
That's a long process.
It's painstaking work. But no, of course not. I think I would say, if I were to give a rough estimate of payment in Zambia, if you are just starting out, maybe you're writing smaller books that are lower stakes, I think it would be reasonable, maybe somewhere in the ranges of like 17 to like 25,000, somewhere there. Yeah, and then as you keep improving and your reputation grows in the industry and your skill level grows, and 2 years is a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's definitely upwards of 50. Upwards of 50, upwards of that. But internationally, that's very low, actually. But we don't live there. We live here.
We live in Zambia.
So that, I think, is the general range of what you could make here.
Okay, so now in the same process, where do you tell them now, okay, this is how much I'm going to charge you?
Oh, right up front.
Okay.
Because especially after they've explained the scope and the timelines. Because normally they come with the most unrealistic timelines on earth. Like, I want this book in 6 months.
Oh yeah, it's like not gonna happen.
No. Like, even if I tell you, even if I want it to be done in 6 months, you yourself won't have the capacity for that.
Yeah, to handle that.
You know? So given the scope of the work, the intensity of it, and the timeline, after they tell you that, then you can gauge how much you think is reasonable, of course, for the demographic we're living in. And I think you're right up front about it. You can't hide such a figure from someone.
Okay. All right, that is so helpful. And then we move on to the other question. What practical steps should someone take if they want to start offering ghostwriting services today? Practical steps. I think a good place to start would be to start like editing, of course, developmental editing, because you need to understand book structure. Writing is one thing. You can be a very talented writer, but to be able to write a book is another thing. You have to understand the way a book should be structured. And if you are planning on taking a unique approach, that's actually why you must have all the more knowledge about it. So practical steps, like I said earlier, be a reader. Secondly, you have to really equip yourself. Of course, there's always YouTube. You can watch videos there. There's the world of advice. But just read as many books as possible so that you could see. It's no longer just about reading. You're not reading as a reader. You're reading as a writer. Two different things. So you start to read as a reader and start as a writer and start to really focus on how do they manage to use the story to teach a lesson. When you're reading these things, it seems so simple. It's not. Oh, so they're explaining the story. How do we make sure it bleeds into the lesson that works harmoniously with this book?
So you really have to now take that intentional approach of understanding that technique, structuring a book from beginning to end.
Yeah. Okay. And also, of course, like you said, a lot of reading and writing.
Yeah.
And you also spoke about reading like a writer.
Yes. Yeah, reading like a writer, not
just as a reader. Yeah, because some work seems so seamless and so simple, but that same work which seems so simple to the reader took a lot of work and time and effort. So you must be able to deliver that to other readers that are going to be reading your work, right?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, I'm sure you'd agree with me that the simpler something seems when it comes to the creative industry, the harder it was.
Yeah. And a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Those are very helpful. I know you could go on and on.
Yes.
I don't think I'm capable of doing this because yeah, to be honest, I don't think...
Does it sound very intimidating?
I think, like I said, I think you need a lot of passion for you to
be honest, it's hard. I can't lie to you.
Yeah, that's why you need passion for it to back you up.
Because sometimes people think, like, take for instance, internationally, people would say, that's a lot of money, But trust me, even if you are paid, I've had clients who come to me because the first ghostwriter that they engaged failed to finish.
Give up.
Yes, it's hard.
You're talented and passionate about this.
I hope so.
I like that for you.
I hope so.
All right, thank you so much for that. Hope our viewers found that helpful.
I hope so too.
Yeah. All right, now back to our conversation just to wrap it up. Thank you so much for the project breakdown. That was really cool. I loved it and it was very practical.
I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. Now let's talk about what is it like working with Dumisani.
Nice. Even I can't pronounce it that well.
Oh, yeah, I pronounced it correctly.
That was good. He would be impressed.
Oh, yeah. I was at a conference where you were speaking and I think the person who was speaking was like, he couldn't pronounce it correctly.
Ooh.
And so he came and emphasizing
Yes.
I don't know if that's correct, but thanks.
No, you've really done a very good job. How is it working with him?
Plus also the Africa Must Think conference project.
As you know, as you might know, the Africa Must Think conference is like the biggest conference that's held in the country. So really, it's a mammoth undertaking. It's not something that is easy. Actually, right now, we're right in the middle of it. There are like 3 weeks to go. I'm not sure by the time you air this, maybe it would have passed already. But it's definitely very involving, and it requires someone who has very big capacity emotionally and mentally. And I think working for him it's just one big learning experience because you get to see him in his element. You get to see him work through very sticky situations. You see him negotiate, especially given my role. I really get that front seat. I'm one of the people who's perpetually there when he's really doing all the nitty-gritties that make some of these things possible. In a lot of ways, he's really a one-of-one type of person. He's very determined, absolutely sure about what he wants, very cunning, very shrewd. I'm telling you, there's a lot to learn. So I would say it's been quite the learning experience, and of course it can be very challenging, but I don't think anything that is worth doing is usually easy. You will face some challenges. You will have to make certain sacrifices. And so I think, in short, working for him is a huge learning experience. You will learn so much. In whatever faculty you're working for him in, you will learn quite a lot. And as for the Africa Must Think, like I said, very people-facing conference because it's about the people who are attending. So you really have to sharpen your PR skills, your conversation skills, your skills with the media. It's so all-encompassing.
Yeah. I can imagine because you have to book the whole stadium, man. That's a lot of people to to cater for. a lot of
people to cater for sure. And even just the capacity that it takes to prepare towards that. Yeah. It's quite a lot.
The money, the people, to find the right people.
It's a lot.
I also heard the stats. Is it like the biggest entrepreneurship conference in Africa? I don't know.
Yes, it is. It is. If you just look at the numbers and the attendance, it is. Yeah. Yes, it definitely is.
What career-defining moments stand out for you so far?
Most recently, I think emceeing. That's something I didn't know I could do. Actually, funny story. So I have this thing where I get bored very easily. I need a challenge. Most of the time, I guess that's why I even do the ghostwriting, because it's challenging. Yeah. But I need a challenge. So when I just started working for Dumisani, it was right at the beginning of the year, and he was hosting these incredible masterclasses, and they needed an MC for that. And like I told you, I have grown to be someone who's like quite self-assured, to be honest. So I knew, I wasn't sure, but I knew that I might just be able to handle it. I didn't think I would be good at it. Yeah. I just thought, why can't I just try? It's a small crowd, just 200 people, because the masterclasses are more intimate than the conference. Yeah. So it was like we're preparing for it. And of course, all the details that we needed for the masterclass were being considered, but the MC wasn't really being talked about. So I was thinking, who's going to facilitate this event? So I remember walking up to him and just saying, I can do it. I wasn't even sure if I could do it. Yeah. I had never done it. Yeah. And he was like, have you ever MC'd before? Of course, he rightly asked, because...
I mean, we're not just gonna...
Exactly. Yeah. And I told him, well, I don't know what I told him, but it must have been a bit of a white lie, because he let me do it. Because he let me do it. And it ended up working out so well, to the point where people after the masterclass were approaching me and were like, how long have you been doing this? And in my head, I'm thinking, today. Yeah. As long as today. I'm today years old. You know what I mean? So I think for me, that really opened up a space in my mind. Like, wow, I'm actually capable of something like this. That, because, when you see someone on stage, your vantage point is them. Their vantage point is everyone. Yeah. You get, so it looks easy because all you can see is them. They can see all of you. Yeah. All eyes are on them. And when you're up there, you are very hypersensitive to the energy in the room and how it shifts, So it's actually very challenging. People make it look easy. It's not, But I just got up there and thought, you know what? Let me not think too much about this. These are just people. I don't think any of them is going to turn into a lion. So I should be fine. And it worked out so well. And I think that was career defining for me, in a sense that it kind of made me realize that if I just have my mind in the right space, I can do a lot that I would otherwise shy away from. And it also taught me to just jump at certain things that are low risk. I mean, 200 people, the worst that was going to happen was what? Yeah, I was going to embarrass myself, but I wasn't going to die. Yeah. And sometimes you just have to jump. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that really showed me to say, you know what? Being a bit of a risk taker isn't so bad. And I've gone on to actually MC all of his masterclasses, with the biggest one coming up actually just next weekend. It's going to be 2,600 people. Wow. Really? Yeah, catch me on that stage. And so I think it's built my confidence. Now, even when I'm given work that is challenging, I'm able to use the emotional muscles I used then for this, because it's like, okay, I did that and I was scared. I can do this, So I think that's one of the more recent ones for sure.
All right, it is now time for the rapid fire questions. Okay. Short answers only.
I'll try.
Paragraphs.
I'll try.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite book you've ever read?
I can't pick one book is my answer. Okay. I just can't pick one book. I've read so many. Okay, so right now my favorite book is A Gentleman in Moscow. It's a really nice book.
Dream project you would love to ghostwrite?
Monica Musonda. Monica Musonda, if you're watching this, please... I'm what you need. Yes, I'm what you need. You just don't know. I would love to write your book. I heard you say in an interview that maybe you write a book one day and maybe you hire someone. I'm offering myself as tribute.
Oh, awesome. I'll clip this for you and you send it to her.
For sure. Yes, please. Monica Musonda is my dream project right now.
Yeah, awesome. One word to describe your work.
One word to describe my work. It's intimate. It's intimate work. Yes.
Favorite Zambian author or poet?
That's a very hard question. Honestly, pass.
Okay, fair enough.
Because all of the people that I would mention, I know most of them, and I wouldn't want to pick one.
Defend the rest.
But trust me, just as a disclaimer, there's incredible talent in this country. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. A quote or motto that you live by?
If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Can you explain that? Just that one.
If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So if you constantly say, I'm a bad driver, you'll be a bad driver. You get to keep that limitation that you've given yourself.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't know the difference between you talking to yourself and someone else talking to you. So if you constantly say that you're bad at something, I promise you'll be bad at it. So don't fight for your limitations. They'll stay.
Yeah, awesome. I like that.
Yeah, that's
All right,
my favorite quote.
those are the rapid fire questions. We're done.
That was hard.
You can breathe now.
That was hard. That was actually hard.
Thank you so much, Chelsea, for coming through. Anything exciting that you're working on?
I'm actually working on some very exciting projects right now. I'm working with one of my dream clients right now, who I can't disclose, obviously. But it's just, there's a lot of exciting projects that I'm working on, some of which I think I will definitely be able to talk about when they're more developed. But I intend to be more consistent and deliberate about my social media because there's so much more that I could be doing, honestly. So, I think that's pretty much it.
All right. And where can people find you or your work online?
Right now, mostly LinkedIn. My website was down. By the time you air this, it should be running again. So I don't know if you're going to link it, but it's writtenbyyou.com. That's my website, yes.
Showing it here.
Yeah, showing it here. But I'm sure by the time you air this, it'll be up. Okay. But if not, just go to my LinkedIn, and then if there's an update, Chelsea Chomba is my LinkedIn. If there's an update.
Again, showing right here.
If there's an update, it should be there somewhere. Yeah. You should be able to reach me.
All right, Chelsea, thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate your time and the conversation. We should definitely do this again.
For sure, we should do it.
Yeah, we should do it again.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye. Thank you so much. Let's do it.